I have three breaking stories. One, Ted Cruz just stabbed President Trump in the back. Two, Russian propaganda, RT News, now attacking Trump. And George Soros just got the worst news of his disgusting, old, horrible, evil life. Let's get right to it. Ted Cruz stabs Trump in the back. My mind drifts back to Ronald Reagan, those days when he made bold promises and never delivered on any of them. Those days when he made bold promises and never delivered on any of them. In fact, Ronald Reagan's administration was hijacked by far right-wingers. It appears Senator Ted Cruz is trying to take a page from history yesterday. President Trump took clear and decisive action against Assad's regime in Syria. Ted Cruz is now attempting to derail President Trump's leadership. In a tweet, he explained the mess made by Obama. He said our prayers were with those impacted. Then he took a stab at President Trump when he cynically said, any military action in Syria must be justified. Senator Cruz issues a statement on U.S. missile strikes in Syria. Issued on the following statement, regardless tonight's U.S. launched missile strikes in Syria. Today, after 8 years of Obama foreign failed policies, Syria is a humanitarian disaster. Bashar al-Assad is a monster, a puppet of Russia and Iran, and he has once again used chemical weapons against his own citizens, murdering innocent men, women, and children. Our prayers are with Assad's victims and with the victims of the ISIS and al-Qaeda terrorists ripping Syria apart. And it is always our support and prayers with the brave Americans in uniform who carried out the military strike tonight. Any military action in Syria must be justified by protecting the vital nation's security interests of America, including decisive action to prevent chemical weapons from falling into the hands of radical Islamic terrorists. And I look forward to the Commander-in-Chief making the case that Congress and the American people how we should do that in the days ahead. Missile strikes. On its face, the statement looks harmless. The problem is, Senator Cruz is trying to involve himself in the decision-making process. The senator has no authority in the matter that are vital to the nation's security interests. Senator Cruz attempted to take authority away from the executive branch. These same tactics were used against Reagan by the far-wing senators during his administration. It's clear to me that Ted Cruz is still bitter over his defeat. Now, he hopes to use Syria conflict to cause people to doubt President Trump. I think Senator Cruz needs to worry about ending bad trade deals, repealing and replacing Obamacare, and approving the people's agenda set forth by the president. Ted Cruz appeared on Fox News saying that Congress has had authority to declare war. That Congress has the authority to declare war. He repeated that what he said in his statement. It is clear that Ted Cruz is trying to hijack this even to advance his own agenda. What do the Koch brothers stand to gain from Ted Cruz's re-election? Ted Cruz needs to do his job and leave the executive business to President Trump. Maybe Ted Cruz should clarify his ambiguous statement. After all, he is planning to run again in 2018, where he certainly will meet the resistance from a real Republican. Donald Trump. Next story. Russian propaganda news is now attacking Trump. I just love the foresight of President Trump. Throughout the campaign, we heard rumblings of Russian interference into our elections. We saw RT News trying to align itself with Trump. Today we learned that Russia is what they are really up to. They tried to woo Trump supporters. RT is a propaganda arm of the Russian government. Today, the RT News writes a scathing article about President Trump. In the article, RT points out tweets sent by then-citizen Trump, as if Americans are stupid enough to think that the situation hasn't changed since 2013. The connections between Hillary Clinton and Russia become more clear every day. She gave Russia 20% of her uranium when she approved the sketchy business deal. She did this under Obama as a Secretary of State. Excuse me. We all remember the time Obama leaned over the ambassador of Russia when he said, "I can be more flexible once I'm elected." He would later lay down and let Russia take Crimea from our ally Ukraine. John Podesta's brother made millions as a lobbyist for Russia. The connections to Podesta family in Russia don't stop there. John Podesta himself joined the company as a board member in 2011. Russia's baby, a Putin company, as they call it, invested $35 million into that company. It seems Russia had been meddling in our politics. As time goes on, we learn who they really are working with, and it isn't President Trump. President Trump has just made it very clear he isn't working with the Russians. Let's all pray for peace. While our military stays ready for war, Obama's red line might have been a joke. Trump did paint a funny red line. Trump did paint a funny red line. He just put his foot down. Russia just tipped its hand, and we all know we cannot trust the RT News. Sorry, I destroyed the ending of that. And finally, George Soros, scrotum-faced Soros, just got the worst news of his disgusting life. We haven't heard much about George Soros lately. Well, he found himself in the news again. The media is ignoring what happened. They don't want to talk about the Trump supporters, to find any good news online. So they keep it quiet when good news breaks out. At least good news that we think is good news. As a Trump supporter myself, anything that hurts the globalist George Soros agenda is a good thing. Soros is from Hungary. Even his own country hates him. The legislature just passed a law in a bid to shut down his globalist agenda. The Jewish Telegraphic Agency reports, despite wide-ranging protests, Hungarian lawmakers passed legislation that appears to target the Budapest University founded by the Jewish billionaire philanthropist George Soros. Central European University, CEU, aka Soros University, has more than 1,500 students from 100 countries and 300 faculty members from more than 30 countries. CEU was founded by a political activist and economic terrorist, George Soros. He's provided an endowment of U.S. $880 million, making the university one of the wealthiest in Europe. You can guess those 1,500 were the ones who were protesting. It's widely reported that George Soros lost over $1 billion after Donald Trump won the election. Now it looks like he could lose a large part of his endowment to the government of Hungary. Non-profits who lose their right to operate must surrender their assets in some cases. If the school loses its right to operate, that money could wind up in the country's coffers. I say Hungary should shut down the school and pocket the cash, telling Soros he can file a complaint with the Bank of England or Vladimir Putin, LOL. I think this is good news for Donald Trump. With George Soros fighting for his billions abroad, he has less time to meddle in our business. That's really true. Please help share this good news. Yep, he's too busy worrying about his billions overseas now, maybe to mess with us. Even though I think, George Soros might be able to chew gum and walk at the same time. So keep your eyes open for anything.